Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today on how to position yourself for a promotion at work here in 2021. I'm just going to give everyone a moment to get settled in, so get comfortable and we'll get started here in just a minute. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new participants. As I said earlier, today we are going to be talking about how to position yourself for a promotion at work in 2021. So we'll be discussing some strategies and best practices that you can implement at work to improve your chances of being selected for a promotion. Now, before we start diving into that, I want to take a moment to introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit more about who we are and what we do. So my name is Claire Burke, that is me. I am a certified professional resume writer and senior career services associate here at Employment Boost. Now at Employment Boost, we are a full service outplacement, career coaching, and resume writing firm. We are headquartered right outside of Detroit in Troy, Michigan, and we have additional offices across the US, including in Chicago, which is where I am based out of. So Employment Boost is a subsidiary company of Heavy Hitter Holdings, which means that we work directly with our sister companies, many of which are executive search firms, to deliver the most cutting-edge career services expertise that we can give you. And so we work really closely with the headhunter counterparts just to make sure that the information that we're giving you is number one, up to date, and also recruiter approved. So if you have any more questions about who we are, what we do, our service offerings, I encourage you all to check out employmentboost.com. You can also feel free to send me a connection on LinkedIn after this webinar here and message me directly if you have any questions. We'll also be taking some time for a Q&A session once we wrap up here. So if you have any thoughts or need any additional clarification about any of the topics that we'll be covering today, please feel free to let me know in our chat function, and we'll be sure to address them during the Q&A. But for now, let's talk about positioning yourself for a promotion at work. The way that we see it, there are 4 key pillars that go into your promotion eligibility. The first of which being your performance. And for the sake of this webinar, we will assume that your performance at work is great. I'm sure you're all doing very well at your roles. But performance is not the only factor that goes into a promotion. Things like your resume presentation, your network within your organization and online, as well as your digital branding and reputation, all play a factor into whether or not you are the most qualified or most eligible candidate to receive a promotion. And we'll be talking about all of these factors, how they interact with one another, so that you can put a strategy in place that increases your chances of success for the promotion that you're pursuing. So now that we've talked about what we'll be addressing today, let's start diving into how to position yourself for a promotion. The first thing that you should do when pursuing a promotion is making your intent known to your supervisor. So when you are looking for a promotion opportunity, it's crucial that you have an honest and straightforward conversation with your manager about your goals, and be sure to ask them questions about how you can reach them. You may or may not have a development plan in place already. If you do, you can talk to your supervisor about your progress and what remaining milestones you need to meet before you are eligible for a promotion. If you don't have a development plan, this is a great opportunity to set one up alongside your supervisor. Now, it's important to note that when pursuing a promotion, this usually does not happen overnight. Depending on your company, depending on how their hiring process is set up, this could even take months. So it's important to be prepared for that and be prepared to use that time wisely to, again, just really emphasize why you are the best fit for that role. So when you're having these conversations with your supervisor, it's important to seek out constructive criticism. Now, it can be difficult, especially if you feel like you are already doing a lot of responsibilities that might be associated with the role that you're pursuing. But having that opportunity to gain that constructive criticism and show that you can apply it is going to do wonders for your promotion eligibility, right? Employers want to promote employees that have demonstrated that they're willing to grow, that they're flexible, that they can take other perspectives into account and execute on them. So by doing so, you're increasing your chances, you're increasing your own professional skill sets, and again, really showing why you are the best fit for a promotion. And on a similar note, it's important to communicate how and why you feel like you are the best fit for this internal promotion. And this goes into the resume as well. You'll notice as we start to talk about all of these different components that there is a lot of overlap. They do all go hand in hand to paint a more holistic view of your candidacy. So we'll discuss some strategies on how to communicate this to your hiring manager on the resume, in person, and at work. So speaking of work, let's talk about getting involved. This should be your next step when pursuing a promotion. After speaking with your manager, it's important that you start increasing your visibility in the workplace. Your performance matters, but it is not the only factor that impacts your promotion eligibility. Things like cultural fit are equally as important, as well as, again, your visibility within your organization. So it's important to take the time to think about your company's culture. Think about their values and what you can do to embody those values in the workplace. Getting involved in team building activities, workplace events, even happy hours will show that you're dedicated to your team and peers, not just while you're performing work, but outside of it as well. And it can also pave the path for some really valuable relationships. Taking part in these activities might allow you to introduce yourself to people that you haven't met yet. And those people could be referrals down the line, or they could have valuable insights into how they've gotten promotions in the past. So getting involved at work is a really great way to, again, set the scene for your promotion by showing your dedication and ongoing commitment to your workplace. Another thing that you should do when preparing for a promotion is getting your resume up to speed. Now, the best candidates have the best resumes for a reason, and you do not need to be a great writer to write a great resume. What you need to do is take the time to do some research and articulate your accomplishments in a manner that helps you stand out. Now, especially when it comes to employees who have been at a company for a long time, let's say more than 5, 10, even 15 years, a lot of these people can fall into a trap of not updating their resumes, right? Especially if you're at a company, you feel like you've got a good amount of job stability, you might feel like it's not necessary to continuously update your resume with key terms, with your achievements, but that's not the case. Having a great resume and a great up-to-date resume is going to make a difference when it comes to your promotion eligibility. It'll provide a competitive advantage, and it'll help you stand out from other internal candidates as well as those external candidates you might be competing against. So having a good resume, getting it up to speed, is a very important part of a promotion that is usually overlooked. Finally here, building an online presence can increase your chances of getting the promotion you are pursuing. With social media being what it is, the lines between work and the web have been blurred. And I think this is especially true in the past year, with work from home. The office is not the same as it used to be. And there's been a lot of professional bleeding over onto the internet, onto platforms like LinkedIn. So building a strong online presence can really help you. It's also important to note that as an employee of your company, your online activities do reflect upon your employer. So making sure that your digital presence is positive, number one, but also reflective of the company's values can really make a difference here. Forging a strong online reputation is helpful for multiple reasons, including the ones we just mentioned, but it can also increase the value of your candidacy, right? By establishing yourself as a thought leader online, you are creating new avenues for you to show your expertise, to communicate your strengths in what you do. And this could be leveraged into more promotion opportunities or even a potential pay increase because of that value that you bring. So building an online presence, again, having a great resume, getting involved at work, and communicating with your supervisor, these are all incredibly important things that need to be thought about and addressed. But before you do that, We recommend an activity to start thinking about your own priorities and to start doing some self-reflection on what you are looking for out of your promotion. So on your workbooks, there is an activity that involves needs, wants, and deal breakers. You'll notice that there are sections for you to list out what is most important to you in your promotion. Factors like location, salary, benefits, growth potential, even work from home flexibility can all play a role here. And it's important to note as well, this is very personal. You know what you need better than anybody else. So maybe some of the things on this list don't matter to you. Maybe there are more things that matter to you that you want to include. Whatever it is, take the time to think about what you are looking for and what you expect out of a promotion. And this is helpful, number one, just for your own clear thinking, your strategy, making sure that you're working towards actionable goals that make sense for you. But this is also important when it comes to performing competitive research on the type of role that you are positioning yourself for. So once you have created a list of your own needs, your own wants, and your own deal breakers when it comes to your promotion, you can start using platforms like LinkedIn to search for other similar roles that might provide those qualifications. Now, LinkedIn is a great platform, and it's not just great for job seekers looking to join a new company or job seekers who are unemployed. This can be used for internal promotions as well. And what you can do is actually search for roles with similar qualifications to the one that you are targeting. So let's say that you're looking for a promotion to be a business development manager. We recommend that you go on LinkedIn and search for business development manager and see what roles come up at other companies. Once you do that, you can start to look through those descriptions, input your own filters to see things like salary level, some of those needs, wants, and deal breakers we mentioned earlier. And you can look and see what is standard, what other companies are providing, and you can use that for future negotiations. So it's really good to have an understanding, again, of what the industry standard is. And this can also help you better articulate your value to your company's leadership. So we'll be talking a little bit later about another way that you can research other roles to improve your own chances of getting promoted. But this is one of them, that you'll be able to see the language that they are using and use that to talk to your manager and show your company why you are a great fit for this role. So let's talk about the resume, and we'll go over some very basic resume building blocks on how to make sure that your resume is up to date and in the best possible position for your impending promotion. Now, promotions rarely exist in a vacuum. And what we mean by that is to say that promotions are typically a direct response to a gap or an unfilled role that needs to be filled. And when there are gaps, when there are these open roles, it's likely that you will also be competing against external candidates. Even if your company prioritizes internal promotions or internal hiring, there's a good chance that your resume will be put up against those of others, many of whom are very, very qualified and a great fit for this role as well. So in order to stand out, you need to make sure that your resume can compete with these other candidates. So to talk about how to optimize your resume for the promotion that you are pursuing, we'll go over some resume basics. Now, you might know some of these already, but it's important to reiterate. Resume theory can be applied in a way that really increases your chances of getting called for an interview. And if you know what to do, and if you know the right steps, the right tools, you can significantly increase your chances of success. So the purpose of a resume is to communicate your strongest skills and accomplishments to show why you are an asset to the company, in this case, to your company. The resume does not need to be all-encompassing. This should not be a manifesto. Instead, you can think of it like an appetizer to the interview, which is the main course. Your resume should give just enough persuasive and informative content to get you an interview, where then you can discuss your qualifications in greater detail, you can answer questions, and again, articulate your value in person. Your resume is not just a laundry list of your achievements. It's also a powerful tool in constructing your own professional brand. So the choices that you make on your resume directly reflect upon your candidacy, your professionalism, the skill that you have. So it's important to make sure that not only does your resume contain the right content, the right achievements, but that it's also presented in a satisfying manner to the audience of your resume. Now let's talk about who that audience is. Typically, the people that will be reading your resume are supervisors, HR managers, recruiters, and applicant tracking systems. Now you might notice here that one of these things is not like the other. While supervisors, HR managers, recruiters are all people whose job it is to facilitate the hiring process, applicant tracking systems are an online tool, and it is used by these hiring professionals to facilitate that process. The applicant tracking system is an online database that houses resumes. So when you submit your resume online, about 8 times out of 10, it's going directly into an applicant tracking system, alongside however other many resumes that the company receives for that role. Could be dozens, could be hundreds, could even be thousands, just depending on the company and depending on the position. Once your resume is in an applicant tracking system, a hiring manager will input key search terms to narrow down the candidate pool based on things like location, education, certifications, and desired qualifications. The ATS doesn't just search for the presence of these key search terms, though. It also searches for things like frequency, placement on the resume, font style. For example, a key term that is bolded will carry more value than one that is not. So you're not just writing for people here, you're also writing for algorithms and writing for a system. So with this in mind, graphics and images are not the key to success. While it can be a good idea to add visual flares to your resume, it's very tempting. It can actually hinder your chances of being seen by an actual hiring manager. So you can think of the applicant tracking system as like a first line of defense to the recruiter, to the hiring manager, whoever that may be. In order to get your resume in the hands of a person, it needs to make its way through the applicant tracking system successfully, with the appropriate key terms and with the appropriate formatting. We also know that 75% of recruiters and hiring professionals use an applicant tracking system. Now, this may or may not apply to your promotion, depending on your company. Each one is different, and how they facilitate the hiring process is different. But there is a chance that your resume will be put into an applicant tracking system for an internal promotion. And there's an even greater chance that it will be put into an applicant tracking system if you apply to additional roles in the future. So it's a very likely chance that you will encounter an applicant tracking system. And typically with the applicant tracking system, it's better to be safe than sorry. So it is better to optimize your resume in anticipation of an applicant tracking system than not, even if it never ends up going into an applicant tracking system. And the reason for that is that as many as 75% of qualified applicants who are great fits for a role are rejected for reasons that seem spurious or inconsequential, like formatting or the lack of the requisite search terms. So with the right strategy in place and armed with the knowledge of the applicant tracking system, you can ensure that your resume succeeds online and in the hands of a hiring manager. And you can also make sure that you're articulating the value that you bring to the company in a way that appeases, again, both the digital and the human elements of the hiring process, at work and on the resume. So now that we've talked about the applicant tracking system and how it scans for key terms, let's talk a little bit more about key terms. There's a lot of confusion surrounding key terms or keywords, interchangeable, but a key term is a phrase or business term that will likely be searched in the ATS to narrow down the candidate pool. These are often found in the job description itself. So if you are looking to add key terms for your resume, but you don't know where to go, we recommend that you turn to the job description. And we actually have an activity in your workbook that can help you deepen your understanding of key terms. It can be helpful to think of it as a two-tiered approach. The first tier of key terms is key to the industry, role, and expected qualifications for a job title. This is a broader tier. These key words are generally applicable for a specific job title and job function. The second tier is key to the individual position that you are applying for. So while the first tier is broad, the second tier is much more narrow and specific to one role. I encourage you all to do the activity in your workbook. And what you can do is search for 3 different job openings on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, Indeed, whatever platform you like, and find 3 jobs that align with the promotion that you are pursuing. So let's use our example of business development manager from earlier. You can search for that, find 3 job descriptions, and go through each one with a fine-tooth comb. Go through each line and start to look for what you think might be a key term, and list them out on your workbook. Once you do this for 3 roles, or even more roles, you can keep doing this theoretically forever, you'll start to notice some trends in language and trends in repeated key terms, repeated qualifications across multiple companies for a certain type of role. And those are generally going to be in the first tier of key terms. You can make sure that you are incorporating those into your resume to cover, again, the greater industry standard and greater industry qualifications. Once you do that, you can look more specifically at one given role and incorporate any of the missing key terms that were not included under that general first tier of trends. And again, this is a little bit confusing, but the more that you do it, the more it'll make sense. And after comparing key terms from a couple of different job descriptions, it'll become a lot easier to see what these people are looking for and how you can best present them on the resume. So again, I strongly encourage all of you to do that activity. You can even take the job description of your future promotion and use that as one of those job descriptions that you're looking at, compare it against some others. And that can also tie into your LinkedIn research that we talked about earlier with regard to needs, wants, deal breakers, salary, perks, and things of that nature. All right. So once your resume is up to date, you can start focusing on professional branding and networking, specifically with regard to building your online presence and building your internal network at work. So what is in a network? Your network will typically comprise of 4 general features. And again, this might look different to you. Everybody is different, but typically a network is comprised of recruiters, current and former colleagues, hiring managers, and industry professionals. Now, in the case of an internal promotion, your current and former colleagues and your manager are going to be some of the biggest players here. Having relationships and building relationships with people that you work with is going to improve your chances of getting called out for a promotion. It's a really great idea to start looking at your network and start thinking about how the people you know fit into your network and how they can help you. I would strongly suggest reaching out to current and former colleagues, especially if they have held the similar role to the one that you are targeting, and ask them about their experience, ask them about how they got promoted, and see if they have any advice. You can also see if any of these colleagues would be willing to give you a reference or a referral. Now, we have some statistics here that show the value of networking in the workplace. Now, not all of these apply to internal promotions. However, they all show the value of referrals and the value of relationships when it comes to securing and keeping a job. So we know that up to 85% of open jobs are filled through networking. And we also know that referred candidates make up a much larger percentage of new hires than they do candidates overall. New hires that are sourced through referral programs are far more likely to stay in a role than non-referred applicants. So you can see that referrals and references are good for you and they're good for your company. It helps having that kind of trusted person vouching for you. So if you can start building these relationships with your colleagues or speaking with your colleagues about generating referrals or generating references, you'll be able to present that to your manager and show why you're a good fit for a promotion. Now, this also ties into LinkedIn. Because of work from home, A lot of our networking has moved from the office to an online setting, and LinkedIn is a great platform for, again, building your network, building your online presence, and establishing yourself as a thought leader in your field. So here we have some LinkedIn do's and don'ts, and these can help you increase your visibility, build your network, and again, improve your chances of receiving a promotion. So first things first, do update your profile to align with the experience listed on your resume. You want to make sure that there are no gaps or major discrepancies between your LinkedIn and resume, as this can raise a red flag in the eyes of a hiring manager. On the flip side of that, we don't recommend including too many quantifiable metrics about your job performance, trying to keep things like sales numbers out. Again, be discreet and use your discretion when it comes to what you are including on your LinkedIn page, but it is better to err on the side of caution, especially if you're not sure what information is sensitive or not. Another do is join professional groups related to your industry and job function. This is a great way to build your network, to meet new professionals, and also just to keep an up-to-date knowledge of your industry and job function. This will show that you're committed to professional development, not just at work, but also in your personal time, and it will improve your own subject matter knowledge as well. Don't partake in any debates or arguments in the comments section. I know this can be tempting, but we want to treat LinkedIn like we would treat a workplace. So if you would not have that conversation in the workplace, you should not be having it on LinkedIn. Another do is give and ask for recommendations. Again, this is where the networking piece can come in. I would recommend that you all speak to your colleagues and ask if they would be willing to write you a recommendation on LinkedIn, and feel free to offer to write one for them as well. If you go to the bottom of your LinkedIn page, there is a section where you can see all of the recommendations that you've given, as well as the ones that you've received. And those can be a great just testament to your performance, testament to your work ethic, and can serve as referrals and references in the event of a promotion. Don't post too much sensitive information about your job search if you are currently employed. This is more relevant for those who are pursuing a promotion, but are also pursuing other roles if they do not get a promotion. So if you're keeping your options open, make sure that you're discreet on LinkedIn. There are a lot of different privacy settings that you can put into place. So take a look at that and see what meets your needs best. Our final do here, do engage with posts on your dashboard. This will just increase your visibility, again, increase your standing as a thought leader in your function, and can provide opportunities to meet new people, build connections, build your network. Our final don't post or like not safe for work or inappropriate content. Again, while LinkedIn is a social media site, it is a professional environment, so we want to make sure that we are behaving as we would in the workplace. And to jump off of this point, LinkedIn is not necessarily the only social media that a hiring manager will check when doing a screen on you for a promotion. They might also check your Instagram, your Twitter, Facebook, other social media platforms. So I would encourage you all to take a look at your privacy settings on those platforms as well. If you have content or images that you don't want to be seen by your hiring manager, then you can remove them, or again, you can change your privacy settings to keep that hidden so that you're putting the best foot forward online with no potential red flags. All right, and then finally some tips on how to increase your online visibility. Again, get seen. Being seen is really important for a promotion. At work, at those team building activities, online. Just reminds them that you are there, reminds them that you are a good worker and that you are dedicated to this promotion. So some ways that you can increase your visibility online are by adding up to 50 skills to your LinkedIn profile, focusing on those most applicable to the promotion you are targeting. Now, this is where all that keyword research that you'll be doing is going to come in handy, because you can pull key terms directly from those lists that you made when comparing and analyzing various job descriptions. You can also upload a current professional headshot. This will increase your profile views. It will also help the profile look more professional, more robust. So we recommend doing that. Updating your privacy and visibility settings, again, always a great idea on any social media, just to make sure that you are aligning it with your desired level of discretion, whatever that may be for you. And then finally, connecting with recruiters and hiring professionals at your organization, as well as any other organizations you might be interested in joining, to really bolster that professional network, and it can help you understand any trends in the job market for your specific function as well. So all of these you can put into place to, again, increase your online visibility, establish your LinkedIn profile, and start setting yourself up as a subject matter expert and valuable candidate in your field. All right. So that is our webinar for today. I hope you all learned something. Thank you so much for taking the time to go over this with me. It's been a pleasure. I'll be taking some time now just for any questions that you might have. So feel free to put any questions in the chat box. I'll be sure to address them. And if I don't have an answer for you, I'll be sure to get you in contact with somebody who does. If not, thank you all again. Yeah, great question about a workbook. I can send you the workbook directly after this meeting if you do not receive one. Feel free to send me a connection and send me a message, and I'll make sure that you get that. Thank you, Jeremy. Any other questions? All right. If nobody has any more questions, we'll go ahead and get wrapped up here. But again, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message if you need that workbook, or if you have any other questions. Again, it's been a pleasure. I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much for joining me.